Hi, and welcome to our webinar, From Bricks to Clicks and the Other Way Around. My name is Jenny Heinzen-York. I'm the editor-in-chief of Home Accents Today magazine. We're the leading B2B media brand in the home furnishings sector, reaching more than 30,000 retailers of home decor each month. The format for this webinar will be 4 panelists presenting case studies of successful multi-channel retail strategies they've been involved in, guided by questions from me. We're going to talk about the integration between the traditional store and online selling, as well as looking at the other way around, the brands that began selling online and are now venturing into in-person retail opportunities. At the conclusion, we'll have a few minutes for questions. If you have a question, please type the question into the box at the right of your screen, and they'll be submitted directly to me at the very end. If possible, please note which speaker your question is addressed to, so that'll help us sort of format things. All right, so now let's meet our panel. Ken Nish is the chairman of JGA, a global brand strategy and retail design firm who creates customer experiences in a diverse range of categories. JGA has created award-winning environments for clients such as the North Face, the Museum of Arts and Design, Hershey, Sleep Number, Verizon, and Whole Foods Market. Ken has been recognized with design and leadership awards from the U.S. to India and has been inducted into the Retail Design Institute Legion of Honor for demonstrating unparalleled creative excellence. Our next panelist is Janet Valenza. She's the president of Pop-Up Artists, which is a New York-based marketing agency that builds e-commerce brands with physical shops and strategic services. Her agency has been in business since 1994 as a broad-based design and marketing agency serving clients in the fashion and retail industries, ranging in size from Polo Ralph Lauren to a local hair salon. In 2011, they completed a 2,000 square foot shop in Shanghai that was so successful it was duplicated in Beijing and Qingdao. Pop-Up Artists, in addition to providing licensed real estate brokerage services, creates and operates shop-in-shops, high-end retail market booths, and retail storefronts. And next we have Fadi Xiumin. Fadi is the CEO and founder of global e-commerce digital agency Pod One, with 400 employees in the U.S., U.K., and Asia. Fadi's experience spans 15 years within digital, having started his career in the U.K. at the BBC before establishing Pod One in 2001. Responsible for the agency's e-commerce vision and growth strategy, Fadi ensures that Pod One is at the forefront of e-commerce innovation with a particular focus on multi-channel retail, user-centered design, and e-commerce optimization tactics. During his career, Fadi has delivered global e-commerce and marketing solutions for leading brands such as Tag Heuer, Salvatore Ferragamo, Beauty.com, DVS, Net-a-Porter, Uniqlo, John Varvatos, and many more. And finally, and on a sad note, one of our prearranged panelists, John Curran of Fifth Screen Digital, unexpectedly passed away early this week. So we'd all like to express our sympathy to the entire Fifth Screen family, and especially to Keith Kelson, who will be participating today in John's place. Keith is the Chief Visionary Officer of Fifth Screen Digital. He's considered the leading media expert for digital signage. As an innovator, author, and media expert, Keith is sought after for his insight and knowledge in the digital signage industry and for cross-platform media initiatives. He plays an active industry role in evangelizing, educating, and enhancing the global market for gamification of digital destinations, digital signage solutions, and networks. Okay, to start, we're going to turn it over to Ken. Ken, the retail world is changing so quickly, and the customer always has access to a device. Can you talk about some of the ways that the store as we know it is evolving to incorporate this digital evolution?
I'd be happy to, Jenny. Thanks for the question. This is an opportunity and a reality. If you think of the evolution of devices from, some of us can remember bag phones to smartphones, and you think of the typical shopping center in the U.S. now is 25 years old, this evolution in terms of retail has happened in many ways very quickly. If you think of the whole push and pull aspect of communication, stores in malls and in shopping environments very often thought about that their media was really how much rent they paid in their location, not necessarily their communication, and that they really weren't thinking about advertising or communication as part of their strategic process. With the change of digital, and particularly with the smartphone, this has all changed. And this slide we have up here, if you start thinking of the role of pre-shopping, showrooming, about how even today people are terming it bedrooming, bathrooming, living rooming, that an awful lot of the selling process starts on devices before and really outside of the shopping environment. and then that device really is often carried into the shopping environment, interfaced with devices that are retail supplied, and then post the visit, and you start thinking of outside again, is used to talk to friends and family about what you purchased. And so as we've kind of shown in this diagram between smartwatches and Google Glasses and TVs and pads and tweet walls and tweet mirrors and all the different types of digital formats there are, digital is becoming a really key part of the shopping environment.
So when a customer leaves the store and uses their mobile device to access the retailer online or digitally, how is that integrated?
Well, a good example is a project with James Avery, and this is a family-owned, independent brand. Product is made in America. It's a very emotive product, and if you live in, particularly in Texas and areas around Texas, James Avery is part of being born, dying, going through milestones in life, whether they be religious milestones or they be personal milestones. And today, that story about the James Avery brand, the stories that people tell and share with others, all become part of this sort of 360 communication that exists in store and out of store. And you think in their particular case, I might be creating a charm bracelet for a gift. I can go online and I can digitally build that charm bracelet. I can actually take that construct into the store, share it with an associate who can actually put it up either on one of their devices or actually show it up on the wall. You can see some examples of how the digital screens are integrated into the store environment and can show people different ways that bracelet could be rearranged. They might be able to customize it with engraving. They can provide then you an example of what that engraving might look like, a roadmap to build future purchases off of, and really using digital in a very seamless way from pre, during, and after the purchase experience. And then even walking out of the store, socially sharing that experience with friends and family.
Do you have any advice you'd share about how stores can make the experience become very seamless as you go between bricks and clicks?
Well, another example is with Jockey Bra. This is a new concept that Jockey has developed. It consists of direct-to-consumer, online, and in this particular case, in-store. And in many cases, because of the fairly intimate nature of this purchase, some people might prefer to buy at home through the use of a fit kit that can be purchased by Jockey and a digital self-purchase roadmap that they can take. Other people may say they want to make an appointment to come to the store for an assisted fit, and then others may say they would like to come to the store for a consultative interface, but then go into the fitting room again for a digitally enabled self-fit procedure. But I think the kind of the linkage of this is with digital in particular is it allows you to have it your way and have it your way with the level of human interface, either lack of or with human interface, but digital becomes the link. And in this particular environment, you can see even the graphics and the in-store experience is almost a digital avatar in a sense, where the feel and the look of the communication is very complementary to what the consumer might see, be they watching this on a direct-to-consumer purchase program or through an online interaction or an in-store interaction.
Now, is there a process that you could recommend for a store to become sort of device agnostic so it works on multiple different platforms?
Well, if you think of the whole idea of a digital ecosystem, and this ecosystem is in terms of steps of purchase, think before outside, during inside, after outside, and then the recognition that this is really a digital conversation that's taking place with the consumer, and this conversation needs to seamlessly be able to slide and populate a consumer device, a store device, and increasingly an interactive exchange between the consumer device and the store device. So the agnostic piece comes into this. It's really not ours or theirs anymore, and it's really not a push and pull the way traditional media was managed, but really it's a very seamless conversation. We joke around a bit, the storefront today for many retailers is a consumer screen, because today we often see them walking in to the store, looking down at a screen, not looking at the show windows. But equally, we often see them walk by a store, look at a storefront, and all of a sudden pull their phone out of their pocket and go to the store's website. So this idea that there's a seamlessness between the bricks and clicks is really where the sense of being agnostic really comes in.
That's great, Ken. Thank you. Now I want to talk to Janet. Janet, you're coming to this panel from a slightly different angle. As you like to say, you bring e-commerce to life. So what does that mean, and how exactly do you do that?
Thanks, Jenny. Well, we bring e-commerce to life with physical shops, and I like to liken what's going on in retail right now to a lean, mean fighting machine. So Ken talked about what's happening in the store and how digital is enhancing that. And I'd like to read you a quote from the Wall Street Journal on February 24th from Nordstrom CFO Michael Koppel. Quote, "We believe we have opportunities to improve productivity in our four-wall model and reduce spending per square foot." And the other side of that is the physical store is getting tighter and more focused, and the other side of that is brands that grew up in e-commerce or brands that have converted to e-commerce, which Fadi will speak about in a minute. Those brands can be enhanced with a pop-up shop. So what I'm here to talk about today is that pop-up shops will build your e-commerce business, and if you are an e-commerce business or an original brand that has become an e-commerce business, it makes sense to start planning your pop-up now because it will help your e-commerce business and profitability grow.
So what are some reasons why a brand would want to take this strategy?
Well, for one thing, if we take a look at what Kurt Salmon has recently published, that all internet sales are returned. So that's an amazing number. And Rulala also told the Wall Street Journal on 12/23 that returns cost them $5 million in 2012. $5 million. And what's going on, are aware, is that free shipping has induced the customer to order multiple things, maybe 10 items, and keep one, and try it on at home and keep one item. This is a widespread issue across e-commerce brands, and it's a real problem. So a pop-up shop or a tight, focused physical presentation can reduce e-commerce returns. It can reduce the cost of the returns, thereby increasing profits. And for big companies, big flash sale brands like Rulala, Ideally, and Gilt, it makes a whole world of sense to do pop-up shops to reduce e-commerce returns. In addition to that, pop-up shops can be used to gain new e-commerce customers. And we're looking now at a company called Bauble Bar, which is an e-commerce brand that brings high-end accessories to the customer online, thereby providing them at a much lower cost due to a lower markup. And their Director of Partnerships, Julia Strauss, has been quoted, "After people have the opportunity to touch and feel the product, they're definitely more likely to shop on the site. It's become about customer acquisition." So they have used pop-up shops to actually show the product to the customer, let them touch and feel it, be comfortable with the quality, and it's built their brand in that they've gained new customers. They're growing their top line revenue by using pop-up shops. The next example. Oh, yes, we're also talking about kiosks. We're talking not only about kiosks in malls, but shop-in-shops, high-end retail booths, shops in places that you might not think of shops, such as airports. But what we're looking at right now is Indochino, and they have a concept called the traveling tailor. Indochino is an online brand that sells custom-made menswear, and they have a pop-up shop concept called the traveling tailor. Last year, they had 12 shops that were in various places to allow a man to come in, be custom fit for a suit, be measured, touch the fabric, look at the product, and buy it. And it was so successful for them that they are going from 12 shops to 25 pop-up shops across the U.S. and Canada in 2014. This particular type of a pop-up shop works well for items like bras and shoes that have fit issues that are important in the sale, and it's a way to grow another way to grow your e-commerce business by growing the top line. So not only are you reducing costs by reducing return costs, but you're also acquiring new customers and gaining revenue through the use of pop-up shops as a marketing tool. And Jenny, you mentioned kiosks a minute ago, and besides kiosks, like I said, shop-in-shops, high-end retail markets, and storefronts, places like airports and other places that there might not even be any retail, depending upon the goal of the shop, are smart. In this case, a company called Zadie, which is a new company, also started online, providing quality, timeless fashion, used an airport pop-up at the Delta Airlines to reach an international audience. So they were able to reach an audience that is a little bit different from what they normally get, again, to grow top-line revenue.
Okay, we're about out of time here. Do you want to go through a few quick points on what are your initial steps for starting a pop-up for an e-commerce brand?
Yes. The most important thing is to define your goal. Are you trying to acquire new customers? Are you introducing a new product that maybe is having issues online and that needs to be addressed physically? Are you trying to get the right fit for your product? Are you trying to address fit issues? So the first thing is to define your goal. The second thing is to define your strategy. Of course, you're going to want to sell product in the shop. Don't want to miss that opportunity. But you also want to think about what's going to happen after that person leaves. If you don't take the order right there online, you want to think about what kind of promotional postcard you will give the customer rather, so that they can purchase online with an incentive later on. You also want to think about what is your marketing strategy for follow-up. How are you going to collect email addresses and follow up appropriately? So in summary, Fadi's about to talk to you about brands that have gone to e-commerce. So after they go to e-commerce, the pop-up shop is the way to go. Pop-ups will build your e-commerce brand. Feel free to contact me. I would love to talk to you more about how these examples can work for you. And in the words of Bruce Springsteen, pop-up shops add a little of that human touch.
Well, that was a great musical finish there, Janet. Now we're going to move on to Fadi. And Fadi, you have some great examples for us to see of some brands that have integrated unique e-commerce strategies. So taking it, again, from the other side of the story here. So I'll let you just take it away now.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. Hi, everyone. I didn't know you had a singing voice, Janet. Wonderful. I'll remember that forever.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the biggest challenges that many of our clients come to us with is this online-offline synergy. And how they get them working together. So truly the from bricks to clicks and the other way around, and that's really what we're trying to solve on many, many occasions. A couple of examples here highlight how we've approached it, many different ways of doing it, and hopefully this will give some insight into how some brands are doing it. The first one I want to talk about is a luxury brand called Salvatore Ferragamo. They approached us initially because they wanted to replicate their very successful offline trunk shows that they do online. A trunk show, for anyone that doesn't know, is really where the VIP customers are invited to one of the stores or a special show where the latest collection, not yet released, can be previewed, and these VIP customers will ultimately pre-order these products. So we took that brief, and you can see in front of you a homepage that we created for them initially. And at the onset, it's actually quite a straightforward e-commerce experience. So you have a beautiful page that shows off the campaign and encourages you to click through to the secondary pages. As you travel through the website, the e-commerce experience is really as you would expect it. So clicking on various products, filtering, clicking on product detail pages, and ultimately hopefully buying these looks. We also encourage people to interact with the site and watch the catwalk shows and pre-order from those videos. And that was all fun, and that worked really well. But what was really interesting that actually caught the attention of the press and of their customers was a tool that we created called Style Yourself. And this is where we empowered the customer to ultimately style themselves as if they were in a virtual showroom, changing room. And here they can actually click through the various products of the latest collection, try them on a model, layer items, jackets, etc., and even try on accessories, so handbags, shoes. They can look at the back and the front of the model, and as they add items, they're added to their basket on the right-hand side, and they're added to pre-order. This was fantastic because it really replicated as much as possible the offline changing room experience. But even more than that, what happened subsequently is that we actually also created a tool that we gave to the sales associates in store. So now when a customer arrives in the store, welcomes them, they log into their iPad tablet, and using this tablet and drag and drop features, they start presenting with the customer looks that they can create together. It starts the conversation very early on in the process. It allows the customer insight into the preview of the items coming up on sale. And once the sales associate has finished and created a look, they'd send a link to the customer, and the customer continues this Style Yourself experience at the comfort of their own home. And this way, I feel we've really connected the offline to the online and back again. And this has been such a successful tool for the client that we've re-delivered this about 5 times now in the last 3 years for each season. So do take a look at it online, trunkshow.ferragamo.com, and have a click around yourself. The next example that I want to show is in the beauty category. And this example is around a brand called Erno Laszlo, and the biggest challenge this brand has was it was really important for the beauty consultants to actually have a conversation with customers in store to talk about skin conditions and needs before they can recommend them specific products. These products were really powerful and worked really well, but they had to be given to the people with the right type of skin types. So the site that we created for them was very much focused on ensuring that customers went to this area here called What's Your Skin Personality? And really this is all about ensuring that customers who come to this website have a personalized experience throughout their click-throughs that ensures that they're given the product that's right for them. So once they've clicked this area, they'll go through a set of simple questions asking them how their lifestyle is. Do they smoke? Do they drink? What problems are they trying to address, etc. At the end of this very quick process, they're presented with a curated set of products that are right for their skin type, and we call this My Ritual. And here you're shown products that are right for cleansing, for tone, for add-ons, and even products for nighttime treatments. And that works really, really well, because what you're saying is these are the products that are right for your skin. And throughout this process, we're actually taken the place of the beauty consultant in Sephora and created a site that's specialized and personalized for you. And as you continue your experience with the website, the Me Plus recommendations appear at the top of the listing pages that actually tell you what's right for your skin type. Clients then click through to the product detail page, and very easy shopping experience that allows them to read reviews, watch videos, and hear what other people are saying about those products. And ultimately, getting this product to the right pairs of hands and skin types leads to incredibly happy customers. And if you have happy customers online, then they're going to talk about you and become devotees and become your brand ambassadors. So we saw some real success here by taking that offline experience of talking to a beauty consultant online and replicating that as much as possible. And that's been a really, really important part of this brand's relaunch, and we're seeing it work incredibly well.
Those are some perfect examples, really good, innovative use of new technologies here. Now we're going to go to Keith Kelson, who's going to discuss the use of in-store screen technologies and how those can be put to use in unique and exciting ways.
Yeah, thank you. So in 2012, we did this McCormick World Flavor Stores in combination with JGA, who was the architect on the project. And we created 5 different digital engagements within this environment. And it's very interesting to see how these engagements work, how it ties in to really bringing the digital platform and meeting that customer in their digital space. So I know we're running up against time here, but I did want to make a few points in the sense this is flavor print, where you're asked a bunch of questions. They actually show you pictures. You choose different types of food, and then it gives you your flavor personality. Now, out of the 5,000 people that show up at the store on a monthly basis, 80% of the shoppers play this game every month. And it's amazing that at the end of that, 70% of those put in their email, and then McCormick sends them recipes based on their flavor personality. So that personalization and that engagement in store creates a wonderful experience that really allows the brand to have that latent conversation. Flavor Explorer, one of the things we see here is this was where you could explore kind of the world of spices and flavors in McCormick. And what we see is that it's no longer a screen on the wall. It's about a digital engagement, whether it's a tablet, an interactive screen, or on the handset, on the personal handset. But we see the engagement level here being 75 seconds versus a screen on the wall, which is really glance media these days. The last example I really want to talk about is the Guess That Spice. This was a full experiential where you can see the nozzles above the screen here, and actually spices, the aromas came out of the screen. You would take and smell those, and then the consumer would guess which spice that is. Now, based on how many they guessed right, a coupon would print out 4, 5, 10, 15, 20%. And again, very, very high redemption rate. And again, this is bringing the digital playing field into the experience with the customer. And I think there's a couple things that you really need to look at here, especially the solution planning phase, where we create these scalable indoor digital destination solutions that meet the business and communications and really give a return on investment and a return on objective. And it is a planning and design process that takes place. In addition to that, there's requirements and discovery, and you really have to understand how that is going to work in store with the right internet connection, making sure that there is tie-ins with the POS system, etc., and making sure that the handset is also tied in. And there's technology available today where we can actually, just by the person walking in the store, we know that they're there. We know where they are at in the store, and we also can identify, not their number, but how many Wi-Fi connections they have made recently or at any time. But we can tell distances from within 18 inches of where they are in the store. So that kind of technology allows you to then engage the consumer in different ways with different products in different parts of the stores.
Keith, that's a really great, really impressive example. One quick question for you, though. Because that is so impressive and so almost over the top, are there also uses for in-store screen technologies that would work for a smaller retailer with fewer resources or a smaller brand?
Yeah, I mean, then, I would say even for large brands, when you're talking to be at the shelf, when you're at the shelf in a huge supermarket, same thing applies. We can put these things on tablets, interactive tablets, where the sales associate is then part of that experience. And it can also be smaller tablets on the shelf. Those type of, the hardware is not the real expensive part. The tablets are lower cost. It's creating the application and the experience and the media that goes along with that is where we spend most of the budget.
Well, great. Thanks, Keith. Well, this wraps up the formal part of the presentation. We'll be able to take a few minutes now for some questions. If there are any from the audience, again, type them into your message box on the side, and they will be fed into me. If you can direct them to a specific presenter, that will make it most helpful.
To Ken, what processes are retailers putting in place to actively measure the interaction of the offline stores and the online presence to create the optimum offer in specific markets? Are they trying to ascertain and define the number of stores, distribution centers, and online logistics, etc.?
Well, I think from a measurement standpoint, and Keith, some of the experiences we've had at McCormick, in the almost 75% of the customers at some point interact with the devices in the store. So I think obviously the ability to measure just basic use is a great measurement. I think the integration of order online, pickup in store is a great way to measure the integration and the effective integration of the digital access points as well as the omni-channel character. And today many, especially retailers, are now finding the order online, pickup in store it's growing fast. It probably has grown 250, 300% over the last year. And as a percent of total sales, it can range from anywhere from 4 to 10% of the sales. And I think it's a great, again, effective measurement on how the bricks and clicks can be brought together. And I think what most people will tell you is that when they grow that customer, that they find that the customer is a highly productive customer in terms of sale. The frequency goes up in the number of times that they interface with the brand, be it online or in-store, and that the average transaction goes up as well. So obviously measurements are frequency, the penetration in terms of the usage by the visitor, whether they be an online or in-store customer, and really the integration and the integrated use of the customer is another great way to measure how effective these things are. And literally people are now going deep into logistics as well in terms of filling orders from shipped from store is another really good measurement and opportunity within this omni-channel thinking.
And I'd like to add that any in-store engagement, we can track number of users, etc., in a specific location very easily. Another question here is, what about the hefty cost for a retailer to push one brand? Is there any co-marketing examples? And I'll take that just just briefly. I mean, we're working with a major brand that is within a grocer, and you know, it's tough to get the attention on the shelf there, but we're creating a smaller digital destination using tablets to really try and drive that with this brand in a very large scale. But again, it is very cost effective to use tablets and shelf-mounted tablets near products.
I have another co-marketing example. It's very common in Europe to do concession-based shop-in-shops, meaning one bricks-and-mortar retailer will sublet, so to speak, space to someone else, be it a brand or some kind of a partner, usually an e-commerce partner in our case, to sell their merchandise within the bricks-and-mortar location by paying rent for space. And in essence, it's a co-merchandising, co-marketing concept.
Yeah, we certainly do see that, like in a Macy's or something like that, where it's a brand within the store. And I think because we have the option of this digital playing field, it's an opportunity for brands to even get in within the stores and create an experience that's more specific to them. It looks like that's all the questions we have today.
Okay, perfect. I really appreciate everyone's participation here today and hope everybody's gotten something out of it. This session was recorded. Everyone who attended will be getting a link to view the recorded webinar. It'll also be posted on YouTube.